What's going on, everybody? So we finally have some new details about Anno 117 that has come out of Gamescom this week over in Germany. Now, I was actually hoping to go to Germany this year and go to Gamescom, but unfortunately that just did not work out as I had hoped. But maybe next year I'll be able to go to Gamescom and we'll have some more juicy information next year at Gamescom for the game, since that is the release year for it, and we'll probably get a lot of good stuff. But this year, there's not a lot, but this is what we've got come out of it. My understanding is that we're actually going to be getting a dev blog kind of detailing all of this later on, but I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek at what we were told at Gamescom and what is coming for some of Anno 117. So let's jump in and take a look. Now, this information is coming from Gamestar. They are at Gamescom and they are talking with Ubisoft Minds about 117, and they were at the presentation. So all of this information is coming from the Gamestar article. So what is the information that we have been given? Well, they gave us a bit of an overview of how population tiers are going to be working in Albion. Now, this is specific to Albion, and we'll talk a little bit more about why it's specific shortly. So the focus in Albion is a cultural tension sort of thing between the traditional Celtic culture and Romanization. And in Albion, we will actually have a very interesting gameplay mechanic where we can choose the path for our specific island. They did say island, so that does mean that islands are returning in Anno 117. There has been some speculation that they may move away from the island format of the game, which has pretty much been the way the game has been for the last 20 odd years, and they may go to a more land-based game. But they did say that islands would be in the game, so we know for a fact that that is a thing. And just to reiterate, don't forget that Anno is not set in our actual historical past. It uses pseudo-history and cherry picks from history, and it's sort of an alternate reality. So while, yes, this is set in a Roman Empire thematic type setting, it's not the Roman Empire from the history that we all know from our past here on Earth. This is Anno Earth and Anno Rome. So it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to look a little bit different in terms of the land and everything else. But anyways, getting a little off topic here. So Albion, we're going to be able to Romanize or leave the population as is and not Romanize them. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, we're going to have population paths in Albion. We're going to be able to choose how we want to level them up. Instead of doing something like putting down farmers and they turn into workers, into artisans, and so on, like Anno 1800, we will have a choice. So the first stage of population tier in Albion are called Waders, W-A-D-E-R-S, and this may be a horrible translation, don't know. Obviously this article is translated from German to English, so it may not be perfect, but they are called Waders. They are basically, you know, your first population tier. They're your farmers. Once you have your Waders and stuff and you've met all of their population consumer good needs, then we will have the option to either upgrade them into Mercadors, which are the Romanization, or you can turn them into blacksmiths, which stays with the Celtic tradition. This decision is island-wide. You can choose an island to be Romanized. You can have an island that is not Romanized. So it's not per house, but it's also not region-wide, so it is local to each individual island. The decision to go either Roman or Celtic is not concrete, though. You can switch that up later on. Information on how we can swap that around later has not been revealed, although I'm sure it's going to be a bit of a more of a challenge or a very costly endeavor to swap over from one culture to another. I'm sure it's not going to be, you know, very easy, or it would kind of, you know, take away from the impact of your decision on which path you wanted to go. So we can change, but it's not going to be easy to change. And here we were given some images on what some of this looks like. So this right here is the first tier of the Albion population. This is a basic waiter house. Now, I will already say I really like the graphical style. This this is concept art, but at the same time, it looks like possible in-game. And then they kind of did some, photoshopping around it. This actually looks like it could be a building model, like a building model from in the game. And I really like the way it looks. It does kind of have an Anno 1800 aesthetic to it. So, obviously they're going to be playing with the same engine and everything. So, I'm sure the graphical style will be somewhat consistent with Anno 1800. But I really do like a lot of the detail and stuff around it. So it looks really, really cool. So next up, we have the choice of going to the blacksmiths, which stays with the Celtic tradition right here. So this is your second population tier right here for the Celts. Again, definitely looks like an in-game model to me that's been kind of photoshopped and everything around a little bit. Very nice looking building. Again, I mean, Anno 1800 and the Anno engine looks really good, so I'm not surprised that the building models themselves look really nice and the concept art for them looks really good. Really like the way this right here looks. And so this is the blacksmith option to upgrade your waders into. And then we have the Mercator upgrade path right here. So this is going the Roman path. Very Roman looking building with the terracotta roofs and the whitewashed stucco walls and everything else. I really like the little planters on the windows and stuff, and like little trees and everything. This tree right here, the way this looks, this is why I think that this is not concept art. This is an in-game model. I can't explain it to you guys, but the way that tree, the model of it looks like something out of Anno 1800. This is, to me, this is not concept art. This is in-game building models that have been taken out and photoshopped around a little bit to, give this little image right here. That's why I think that these are actual models in the game. Really, really nice looking. I really enjoy this building right here. Very Roman, but not, the marble of Rome and everything that you think of. A lot of people think of when they think of Rome with marble everywhere. It's very Mediterranean feel to this building. Really, really cool looking. Nice little second, upgrade tier for your Mercators. Where, by the way, the Mercators are a tradesman. They're kind of your artisans and everything. Your merchant class. So really like that right there. So I really like the idea of being able to upgrade into two different paths and stay with either Celts or go into the Romans. Really, really cool. Now, I did say that the choice of having a population path like this is specific to Albion. They said that in Latium, the other region that we could choose to build in, that Latium would be more of a traditional Anno building experience. You have one culture, basically, that being the Romans, and you build up from there. You have whatever the first population of the Roman tier is, and then those turn into your Mercators, the second population tier, and then so on from there. It's more of your traditional system. Albion is the special system where we can have either Celts or Romans on an island, and then have, the entire region of Albion being a mix of those on the different islands and everything like that. So Latium, more traditional Anno focused building with one culture, and then Albion being a little bit different. So we also got a little bit of information about production chains, which is really, really nice. If we go the merchant route, we have togas as one of their consumer needs. And togas require flax from a farm, which is produced into cloth at a intermediate production building. And then we also have murex snails, which come from the water. So there's going to be, ocean harvesting of murex snails, some, coastal production buildings. Those are turned into Tyrian purple dye, and then those two intermediate products turn into togas. If you stay with the local tradition of the Celts and you upgrade your waders into smiths, instead of togas, they need trousers. So this is really cool. So now we have two alternate upgrade paths that have different production needs depending on what they are. I really like that. It adds a lot of variety and a little bit more complexity to how it all fits together and everything. Trousers are obviously going to be a little bit simpler than a toga. They just need sheep that produces wool, I imagine, and then dye plants, which will produce dye, and those turn into some nice, nifty little trousers. Now, the developers did say that there are actually other advantages than just fulfilling the need for clothing for something like togas or trousers. They didn't tell us what that was. They just said that. They just kind of hinted at it, that there's additional advantages. What those advantages could be, I don't know. What do you think the other advantage of fulfilling a consumer need other than, just having the need fulfilled could be? Maybe it's, ties into some sort of happiness system with luxury goods or something like that. There's a lot of different ideas that there could possibly be when it comes to, advantages for fulfilling needs other than just fulfilling needs. So I really like that they are, getting outside the box here with Anno 117, and they're not, sticking with, okay, just produce these goods and give them to the people and boom, you're done, click upgrade. It looks like they're actually, giving a lot more interactivity between the population tiers and the consumer goods and how it all interacts with each other. It's really, really interesting. Now, the last thing they did talk about was religion and military. So I know a lot of you are going to be really excited about the military part because it does definitely sound like we are getting land-based armies again. Now, we have not had land-based armies in Anno since Anno 1404. Obviously, Anno 1800 had a lot of people asking for land-based combat. It was not included because, the developers just decided that the way that they wanted Anno 1800 to play, land-based combat just really didn't fit with their vision for the game. But I don't think it could be a Roman game or a Roman-focused Anno game without the Roman legions. I just think that that's a necessity. You gotta have Roman legions marching across the land in a Roman-themed game. It's just a requirement at this point, I think. The article here mentions that there was some artwork shown that had a Celtic settlement surrounded by a wooden wall. Now, obviously, why would you need a wall if no one's going to attack it? So, yes, it is just concept art, but concept art does give some ideas as to the direction that the developers are going with things, and seeing walls around settlements definitely plays into the idea that there's going to be land-based combat. Totally could see that happening. Now, the other thing they did talk about briefly and just a little bit of a hint was religion. Now, religion was obviously a major key focus of the Roman society in the real world. And I think it would, again, just like the military stuff, be a disservice to making a true Roman city building game without religion. There were no gameplay details about religion at Gamescom, just a lot of hints and everything. Things like artworks where we see, Roman temples towering over the cities. And apparently they mentioned the term religion multiple times in the discussions on Romanization, the Romanization mechanics of, Celts into Romans and everything like that. So religion's definitely going to play a big part in the game. Now, how could religion be implemented into the game other than just being a stat stick, basically? Here's, the religion coverage for your houses, hit 100%, you're good. It could be all kinds of different stuff. Maybe there might be, the different temples and the different Roman gods have bonuses applied to them that they, give out to the houses. Kind of think trade unions and town halls. Maybe, this temple has an effect radius around it, and the houses around it, maybe have their happiness increased or their income increased or something like that, or dissatisfaction decreased within the radius of a temple. Maybe a temple to Poseidon. Well, that wasn't Poseidon, that's Greek. Neptune. Or was it Poseidon? Oh, God. Greek, Roman, I forget. Neptune, Poseidon, the sea god over there. Maybe, you could have a temple to Neptune near the coast, and it increases the efficiency of your coastal production buildings. Neptune, Poseidon, sea-based production buildings getting a bonus from it makes sense. So I could totally see something like that, or if we even got even more detailed with it, maybe there will be some sort of religious tension between the Roman religions and the Celtic religions in Albion. And, you have to kind of replace the Celtic religion with the Roman religion or something. I don't know. Just some interesting random thoughts I'm having on it. But I do find it really interesting that they are going to be trying to put in some more concepts into the game other than just the stuff that we're used to in Anno. And we're going to be playing with things that we've never played with before, religion and things like that. Now, I will say that the whole idea of multiple paths for upgrading your population, it's new in that concept of, you know, you start out with one type of population, but then you could branch, either stay in the same or branch a different way. But we have had at least one other game where we had multiple types of population, not population tiers, multiple factions basically, that could be built on the same map. Now that would be Anno 2070, you know, with the Global Trust and the Edie Initiative, and then later on you had the science people and everything. So we have had Annos where you have different factions and stuff that have their own different tiers and everything, and their own different production chains, but we've not had an Anno where you have a branching system out of one starter class. Well, that's really kind of cool. I really like this idea. I really like the idea of land-based combat coming back. I didn't want it in Anno 1800. I didn't feel like it had a place in it, but I definitely think land-based combat has a place in Anno 117, and I'm very excited to see how that gets implemented and how it looks. So that's the information that we have gotten out of Gamescom for Anno 117 at this point. Again, I do expect a dev blog coming out pretty soon. I'm not sure when, obviously, but soon enough. And once that dev blog comes out, again, I will be covering that, and I'll be covering all information about Anno 117 as it comes out to us over the coming months. Let me know your thoughts down below on what we've heard so far about Anno 117 and their choices on some of this and some of the new mechanics and everything that are coming with it. See you in the next video, guys. Until then, take care.